Hey, it's time for another room reveal. You're going to love what we have cooked up in here. You watched us design and build this house in 150 days, but the work is far from over. We're about to jump into my favorite part of the process of bringing all this together. Join me for an exclusive look right here on eHow Home. Now I want you to take a look at the kitchen. I don't know about you, but I love kitchens. I don't know, I guess it's because I love to eat. But you know, the kitchen really in the way is sort of the heart of the home. And so I wanted to make sure that this kitchen was generous in terms of its size. And also it had to have a lot of charm. So what we have here is a room that is 13.5 feet this way and 11.5 feet this way. So it's a generous space. I want to do something really interesting in this kitchen in the way of an island. You see, if I put an island here, well, you couldn't get as many people in here comfortably. So I was so lucky when I found this extraordinary butcher block. This butcher block serves as a center point or a focal point in this room. It's also very functional. You see, you can use it as a workstation, and the reason you can is because I elevated it. If you look at the bottom, I created this triangulated base that's on casters where the butcher block could sit on it. It raises it up to more countertop height. Now, here's the other thing you can do. You know, everybody likes to hang out in the kitchen, right? I can take 4 or 5 stools and place them around here. I could even serve a meal on this if I wanted to. So you see, it has a lot of different applications to this space, and it's really cool looking too. Okay, now let's step back and take a look at the larger view. You see, this room is lined with cabinets. The walls themselves are pine planks or pine lumber. We used 1x6s and 1x8s, and they're actually on the horizontal. We didn't run them vertically. And then applied to that are these cabinets. We first painted the walls Snow White by Benjamin Moore. It's a really nice color in here, I think. It's not too blue of a white. I wanted it warm. And so the cabinets actually came from, well, the Restore for Habitat for Humanity. So all of these cabinets up across the top, and this side here on the upper side came from Habitat for Humanity, and then all the other cabinets we got at Lumber One. The lower cabinets and the cabinets on this wall we got at a lumber salvage yard, and then we had to get Tony to modify the door profile so they match the ones that we got from the Restore from Habitat for Humanity. So they all turned out really well. And if you take a look at these, I used chicken wire on them. And I wondered whether or not I was going to pull fabric behind, but you know, once I started putting the dishes in here and so forth, it really came together, and I thought, you know, it makes the room feel more open and expansive. I think this is a very important design detail in that the more open a room can be, the larger it will feel. So being able to look through the transparent chicken wire, that helps a lot. Of course, it means you got to keep your cabinets, what's in there, really tidy. The other thing is that with it light colored, it feels more expansive. And then we pop color. We bring color from, well, the main room. In this case, greens and blues that you saw in the other room. You see them here in the way of the rug from Paul Michael. And then, of course, this beautiful Le Creuset cookware. The colors all work very well. So really our color theme here is neutral for the room itself, and then greens and blues lead the charge within some subtle secondary accents with red and orange. Now, a couple of things that we did in this room to bump up the charm factor included, well, the floor. We've talked about the floor. It's painted that black bean soup from Benjamin Moore. And remember, it's a floor and deck paint, not just regular paint. And then if you look up at the ceilings, we have 10-foot high ceilings, which give this room more of an expansive feel. And to help save money, we used barn tin, yeah, from the farm store. It saved money, but it also bumps up the charm factor, don't you think? So I know it's a kind of crazy idea to use barn tin, but I'd love to know what you think, so leave me a comment. All right, so when it came to countertops, we worked with Lumber Liquidators and came up with this maple butcher block, which I think is really good looking. And right behind it is sort of a classic tile. It's Subway tile, and this came from Lumber One, and they did a beautiful job installing it. I just love the simplicity of it. It plays into our whole farmhouse chic look, even though it's New York Subway tile, but it works. I wanted the pulls for the drawers and the cabinets to be really solid, feel like a farmhouse. So I like these classic cup pulls. There's no ornamentation on them. They're polished nickel. And also the pulls here you can see, I don't know, it just added a little sparkle to the room. Again, it sort of bumped up the charm factor. And even down here you can see how all the colors work together. We've got all this cookware. Yeah, it's all made by one company, but rather than going with all one color, it was more interesting to mix it up with 2 different colors, maybe even 3. Even down to the hand towels, as well as the accessories that are up here on the counter, they all sort of play into that farmhouse chic look. If you stick with one color theme, it's going to feel like a much more harmonious composition when you're finished. Take a look over here. This is what I'm talking about with regard to color. You see along this wall, we brought color in through these apothecary jars from Paul Michaels. We just filled them with candy that matched the color theme of this room. Also, even the fruits and vegetables that we've used resonate with the color theme. So if you kind of stick with a color theme, even loosely, it gives the place a sense of harmony. I also like this idea of the juxtaposition of vintage things versus really modern things. For instance, if you look on top of the refrigerator, a great place to store things, I have a vintage press, as well as some containers, and a really fun bottle cap clock with a cow on it. It fits our farmhouse chic look. Also, there are candlesticks up there from Paul Michael. They look good by themselves, but I can bring them down and I can decorate the table or even use them in the kitchen if I like. One of the things I do when I'm choosing objects for a room is, well, does that have to be stored if you're not using it? It makes a lot more sense if it's an interesting object that you can place, say for instance, on top of a refrigerator and pull it down and use it, but while it's up there, it still is interesting and you enjoy having it around. Now, speaking of enjoying things, I wonder what your favorite object is in this room. Mine would have to be this butcher block. And I have to say, one of my favorite ways to have brought color into this room was using these 4 apothecary jars. We use candy. I'd love to know what you would use in these to bring color into a room. So here's the kitchen. If you want to see the other rooms as we reveal them, make sure you subscribe to eHow Home. Okay, now I'm going to have some of these jelly beans. Not only are they good looking, but they taste great.